And I was like, oh, they're partying outside. Like, take out this trash, go fucking drop off this wine. Boom, easy.
Was there a lot of people over?
No, it was just like there was only like a few at the time. It was like small because it was later. You know what I mean? This guy is just, it doesn't really matter. You know what I mean? They've got DNA. I don't know what other evidence. They're probably keeping most of the other thing, but I feel like here, so I try to just be conscious about it for the most part. But at home, I'm pretty vegan-y, and it's just like it's healthier for me that way.
So, like so you haven't been contacted by like Brian's like attorney or anything to be like, hey, can we talk about that scream?
No, I don't think it's relevant in a court of law. You know what I mean? Like, I don't see how I would be evidence in a court. You know what I mean? Like, why? Like, how would that be relevant in an actual court case? You know?
Well, I mean, unless you didn't hear. Well, I don't know if you didn't hear. If they wanted them to be like, hey, are you sure that you heard something? Because like you'd be pinpointing. It could be like the screams right before, you know, or while somebody was like being. You know what I mean? Because if they're trying to pinpoint the time of the crime.
Oh, that's fair. I mean, I feel, yeah.
Like, not that you'd be like, you don't, like...
I feel like they have so much on this guy, it's just, it doesn't really matter. You know what I mean? They've got DNA. I don't know what other evidence. They're probably keeping most of the other things, but I feel like they've been building this case for so long. They probably have a lot on this guy. So, I mean, like, little details, like, you know, like a scream at, like, 4 a.m., like, it might give you, like, a closer timeline. But, I mean, once you have, like, DNA and you have blood and you have, like, other evidence, I don't think that really matters. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
When's the
last time you even talked to the police? Or was that like way in the beginning?
Yeah, way in the beginning. And then one time they were in the parking lot, and I came and approached him, and I was like, yo, I also like saw this car that night. I don't know,
yeah,
it's probably not irrelevant. Huh?
The black SUV?
Yeah, I was like, it's probably not relevant, but I know you guys probably don't have a lot, so like this is what I have just in case it helps. That's why it stood out to me, you know.
And was it in the parking lot? Or was it like?
It was on the street. It was on the corner of King and whatever streets right before that. So I'm on Queen, and then Queen crosses the King, and then King crosses to another street that connects to Taylor. It was between that street that connects to Taylor and King Street.
Okay. Did you have to fill out like a statement, like a witness statement, like a piece of paper or anything?
Nah.
They didn't do anything like that?
No, I mean, I feel, I think, I just feel like a nobody, and I think to the police I'm a nobody too. You know what I mean? Like they're
not with that cat line, you're not a nobody. Wait, can you say it for me? Can you say it? Can you just say the line that you said, just so I can? What'd you say?
You want to come play with my cat?
Is your cat still there?
Of my old Hyundai and posted on TikTok just to troll him a little bit. No.
Okay. Can you juggle for me right now? Like, what can we juggle? Like, how?
Good viewing angle. Hold up.
Okay, let's see. It's okay. We can just turn our head sideways. We'll get it going.
There we go. All right, I think that's good.
Let's see. Oh my God! Here you go. Oh my God! Oh wow! And those are normally lit on fire? This is amazing. Wait a second. How did you learn this?
I took some acid once, and I was at this. I took some acid once, and I was at this this festival, and okay, let me go back a little bit. So when I was.
All right, guys, welcome to the transparency. Little live for you here on Sunday evening. I have a special guest on the phone with me. So let me ring in my special guest here.
Hi.
Hello, is this Doc Thrifty?
Yes.
Hey, Doc. How are you? How are you?
Good.
All right. Well, you are on you're on the line with me.
Great.
So we're doing it this way to make sure that the audio was,
Yeah, hopefully it's much better tonight. And you guys can hear me. Everything's good. Hopefully.
Yes. Doc is on the line, so I'm gonna just put this in there. So first of all, how was your weekend? You have a good weekend?
Oh yeah. They go too fast.
Right.
For me.
Right.
I just try to squeeze in as much quality time. My wife works full time and she's out the door early in the mornings, and her days are long and mine are. So just try to squeeze in as much quality time as we can.
Nice.
About it. Today I did some antiquing. I like to go around to antique stores and just try to find deals and stuff like that. That's why my name's Dr. Thrifty.
Nice. Nice.
I like to thrift and buy stuff out there, sports collectibles, big Star Wars guy, stuff like that.
Nice. Okay, so you're a Star Wars guy? I'll keep that in mind. I'll keep that in mind.
Yeah. That's what you can send me for my birthday.
Okay, some Star Wars. I got you. Some okay. What is it? Chewbacca?
Yeah, I like all the villains. I like the Darth Maul, Darth Vader. I like all the villains.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, as you know, you were in chat the other night when an account typed in that was Inan Harsh. And at first I thought I was like, oh God, someone's trolling again. And then and then actually one of my mods boss and was like, no, it's his account.
Yeah, once he started typing, it only took me about a minute or so, and I was able to search and tell it was him. I knew it was him within a minute.
Okay.
I knew it was him.
Yeah. Okay. So, I was just writing stuff back and forth and literally dropped the link, and he took it, and he came on, which.
Yeah, props to Eon for that. I mean, there's been some speculation out there. Yeah, everybody knows that I got some questions, so he showed a lot of guts, and I give him a lot of props, for coming out. And it takes a lot of guts to come on here live. Right now, I don't want to show my face.
Yeah,
takes a lot of guts to come out here and do this interview with you for as long as he was on. And I give the guy props for that.
Mm-hmm.
There's been a lot of speculation, me included. I've been the main one. I have some questions for him. But I'm just going to go ahead and put it out there. I have some questions for Eon. I'd love for him to come on even tonight, right now, if he's watching. These are questions that I have that if he answers these questions, I will drop this. And if he's able to answer these questions that I have tonight, I won't post any videos on him anymore. If he's able to clear the air, and I'll drop it. But if not, I still have questions. I will continue. So I'm giving the man a shot. I'm a man of my word.
Okay.
I told him that he came on live that I would. take down my videos, and I'm a man of my word. But I have questions, and I would love for him to, if he's watching tonight, just to take Lana out of the equation. This is between me and Enon. I mean, Lana's here; she brings the content, but this is something between me and Enon. I don't want Lana in the middle of it because I don't want it to be like she's badgering Enon. She has her thoughts. I have my thoughts. We're both looking for one thing. These families, these kids, I just want to know what happened.
Yeah, the truth.
I just want to know.
The truth. Yeah.
So,
well,
if you can answer my questions, I'll drop it.
Okay.
I have about 5 or 6 questions. They're not tough. I don't think they're unanswerable. I do not. I feel like if he's able to answer,
I think I can answer one of them for you.
Okay.
So the big thing is that in order, like, if you think someone's involved in something, the number one thing that somebody asks somebody is where were you on such and such a day or such and such a time? You know what I mean? So that's the number one thing that you always ask somebody. So you're trying to find out like if they were even in the area, yada yada yada. So you're looking for an alibi. And
right. I'm looking for that timeline right now. It's his timeline. This isn't one I created. He created his own timeline. He said he left at 12 a.m. from work. That's where it starts the night of the crimes for me. Okay, so I'm not talking about his background. I'm not bringing up his criminal record. It is possible this man got clean. Okay, I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt on his criminal record. I'm not even bringing that up. I'm not going to bring one thing up. If he talks to me, I won't bring anything up about what happened in the past. I promise him that. My timeline starts the night of the crimes at 12 a.m. when Eon said he got off.
Okay, so but my first thing I want to say is that Okay, so the first thing is that I think it should blow people away. This is what I took from it, and I think that the question should be turned onto the police because of this. Okay. Enon said out here, and he said, I said, did you have to fill out what is called a witness? It's like a neighborhood canvas witness. Like you go to the police department, you fill out your statement. If you're being asked questions, like, did you have to fill out, like, especially because of this alleged, like you saw an SUV, you heard the screams or a scream, that time frame of 4:00, whatever it is that, they wanted. He's like, no, they never asked me to come down. I never had to fill out anything, guys. And they never came back to him again, meaning that even this, they never talked to this man after
Very concerning.
Yeah,
Very
after the arrest.
Right there.
Yeah, after the. So is it on Enon? Because I asked him if he was the guy at the food truck, and he said no, and then he didn't even think it looked like him. And I make a comment about his shoe, like the person's shoes that they were wearing. Whoever it is. So he says no, that was not him at the food truck. So okay, so that was a question that was out there. Was that him at the food truck? He's saying no, it was not me at the food truck. But my thing is,
people been asking that question. That's not one of my questions because I didn't believe initially that it was him, and I don't think it is him. So that's what a lot of people have been asking. That's not one of my questions.
Yeah. So, but that's
me, that's not one of mine. But people have been asking.
Yeah. So I wanted to put that out, but put that out there. But then the big question that you have is you said, okay, well, whoever he said that he was with, it's like, okay, who were you with? And but this is what's crazy about it is the police didn't even ask him this. The police didn't say, hey, where were you?
Yeah.
They didn't even ask him.
And I've already mentioned that to you, and that's kind of where I start starting to get concerned a little bit as it comes straight out of Enon's mouth the other night, was he only had 2 actual contacts with police. One, this came right out of Enon's mouth. He said that they knocked on his door. That's how he first came in contact. And then the second contact, which was the only other contact, came just shortly after the crimes, where he actually approached them in the parking lot out back. So, Lana, for me, that's the very first concerning part. If you're going to not have tunnel vision towards one particular suspect, wouldn't you cast a net far enough to look into people like this? So
100%. That's
throws up a flag. It throws up a flag to me that maybe police do know he's innocent. Okay, maybe they didn't come back to talk to Enon for a reason.
Well, I mean, how do you, when you know somebody? That's the whole thing. Though, is how do you know somebody's innocent unless you question them or get the information? You know, like the information that you want. So you're, hey, well, where was he actually that night? That's something that you want to know. Hey, who were you with? That you said that he said he was with somebody and he didn't get home until, because it was after work. He got off like around midnight, but that he didn't get home until like around 1:30 because he was somewhere between 12 and 1:30. That's one of your questions. Is that?
Yeah, that's one of my. Yeah, that's what. And I'll phrase it for people that aren't understanding what Lana's talking about. That's one of my questions that I have for Enon. Okay, right now, and I don't think this is too much to ask. This is Enon's timeline. It starts at 12 a.m. He said he got off of work. Okay. So if he got off of work at 12 a.m. and he BS'd with a friend and then got home at 1 to 1:30 a.m. to 1:30 a.m. to 2 a.m., I want to know the name of the friend he hung out with. I want to know first and last name. If he does not have anything to hide, it's just a name. I just want to know the person's name. I would love to know where he went to, but I'm fine with just the name.
Okay, so well, I think we should even back up even more so. And guys, the reason that I think what is out there is in terms of like that there was no information. And then some guy who said he was the neighbor goes on a channel and does an interview with a woman. And it was an interview that people were calling this guy who's Inan, this creepy neighbor, this guy who was being, he was saying certain things that just weren't true factually, meaning that like he couldn't have Googled something and found something out because it wasn't on Google yet. He had put up a Facebook post and he then redacted it and put, he changed up his Facebook post. So there was things that happened, everybody, just so everybody understands where this is even coming from, is there's things that happened in an interview that took place about a month after the murders, December, I want to say 15th, but where he was interviewed. And
yeah, he was interviewed by Miss Lauren on December. It was 17 days prior to BK being arrested.
Yeah. So it was, yep. And so it was like that interview, people, because I even remember Scott Roeder even said, he's like, oh my gosh, he's like, who was that neighbor that gave that interview? Damn, I have to put him on my radar. That was just really just an interesting interview in terms of like, it just seemed off. And I think that in everybody's defense, it was an interview can seem off if the right questions aren't asked, if, it's, he can only answer things that he's at, like that you ask him. That goes for any of us. That goes for any of us. So that's what led people to look into who this neighbor was, Inan Harsh. So people were looking into who this neighbor was. Well, when people started doing that, because remember, nobody was giving any information out there as far as the police telling the public anything, and the stuff that I started noticing that the police were releasing was just factually not correct. And that was the big thing about where Dylan's bedroom was. They were saying it was down on the first floor. I was like, there's no way. Her bedroom's on the second floor. And I have digital evidence to prove that. That doesn't mean that she didn't sleep on the first floor, but why was she sleeping on the first floor? But then it comes out in the PCA that obviously that's not the case. She was sleeping in her bedroom on the second floor. And then she is this eyewitness. So due to the police not giving information out, web sleuths went and looked into things. And what was coming up was things like when all these little breadcrumbs were being dropped everywhere slowly by, the police and putting it out to the public. A lot of things were coming back to like for example, the route that, Brian allegedly took. It goes literally right past the home of Enan's parents' house. Then there's like this, white truck that was seen on the camera with what's her name? Kaylee and Maddie. Mm-hmm. So it was a lot of, and he says it actually in this interview that me and him, I don't even want to call it an interview. He comes on panel. But yeah, for lack of better words, interview. And he said, people trying to connect the dots, and I get that. And he basically said like, I would be somebody that you would try to connect the dots with. And he kind of touched base on that, like with the interview, that it, for people to get the impression that he could be involved. He was just like, wait, what? Like that's how he felt. He was like, wait, what? He's like, the police don't even want to talk to me. The police have like, they're not even talking to me. And so like, that's where I think where my issue is. My issue is like, the police.
You're talking about the tunnel vision.
Yeah. I'm talking about the tunnel. Yeah.
Right?
I'm talking about the tunnel vision. I'm also talking about even the defense. Like, why aren't they supposedly going to be using him? Like, he's somebody that heard allegedly a scream at 4:00 in the morning. And that is the timeline that they're going with. So, and then I think for me, what I have determined is that do they just not think that he's credible? Or, I mean, is it because that's what the timeline is. The timeline is he said he heard a scream when it was around like 4. And then remember I asked him, I said, how do you know it was at 4 versus like 3 or, you know, same thing with Dylan. How do you know that you got up out of your bed at 4? And, you know, but that's where all this kind of came from in terms of that interview. It sent off, you know, I guess you could say red flags to people, and not just you, Doc, like a lot of people.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't the first one that created any content, but I mean,
yeah, no. But I'm saying that we went and did like the whole like facts about it. Like the stuff that you put out is factual findings in terms of with the route, with that they're both vegans. And then when I told him that on that interview, I said, yeah, Brian's a vegan. He said, wait, what? He couldn't believe it because of a vegan isn't somebody that would be stabbing people. More or less, that's what he was alluding to.
Yeah, I don't judge people by what they eat, and I don't judge people by what they look like. That means nothing to me. When anybody's capable of anything, that's the way I look at it. I really do. And you know, anything, it just the way they look, what they eat, nothing of that matters. Nothing of that ends up mattering to me when I'm looking at a case like this. You know, it's the coincidences that the two people, BK and Enon, have in common. Those can be compared. You know, there's some coincidences there. You know, and I've mentioned those to you on a few occasions. So. But I agree with what a lot of people are saying in chat. Enon does not owe me an explanation. I agree, he does not. And that doesn't mean that I'll let off the gas as far as, you know, my hunches, my theories. So
well, when I talked to him, I think that I don't think that he'd want to put somebody's name out there, like, you know what I mean, like, so. But I think that
and maybe it's not smart for him to answer my questions. Maybe he looks at it as it's not smart for him to. Maybe he feels like, you know, it would be a bad thing for him to talk to me. You know, I've sent him a few messages. You know, I know he took your call, and I know he took Lauren's, and you know. Won't take mine. So, you know, I don't think it's too much to ask about the name. I mean, if you think about the families involved, Lana.
Yeah, no, I'm agreeing with you on that. But how I think that should be handled, in my opinion, is I just can't believe that the police, like, I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like, you would just think that.
Yeah, they should have casted a net and talked to him more than on those occasions. One being the time they knocked on his door, and then the second time only being the time that Enon actually approached them. You know, I would have thought, and it leads me to believe that they possibly had tunnel vision towards BK. You know what? And we've seen that before in cases where it seems like law enforcement has tunnel vision towards a particular suspect, and then they miss something that's right in front of them. And that's how people spend 25 years in jail, and then before they find out who the real killer is, because they just have tunnel vision, is what I call it.
And see, like, my thing, it was just determining, like, what law enforcement was doing in terms of, and I think he said it when he even said, he's like, I think they've been working on building a case against whoever they had for a while. And I thought that was interesting. And maybe why he's saying that is because they weren't hounding him. And he didn't see them, because then I asked him, I thought this was a great question, when I said, after Brian Kohlberger, after his car would have been, found, or even after he was arrested, the police wanted more, they said. They said they were still trying to, like, hey, we want everything that we can, again, asking the public for help again. And I just can't believe that they wouldn't go out around that area and say, have you seen this guy? After you saw his face blasted all over the place, have you seen him? Or even before he was arrested, about, based off of even like, once you get the car back and who it's registered to, and
at one point they were looking at sex offenders in the area. I don't know. I heard they were looking at sex offenders in and around the area, trying to link a sex offender to this crime. And then, they're out there looking for a sex offender, but they're not talking to a neighbor that has an extensive criminal background. It's just a little concerning,
Mm-hmm. Besides the, where he, this is the other thing. I asked him point blank, did you hear the dog barking? Did you hear a dog barking? And he said no, that he didn't hear this dog barking. That was
it's not uncommon. Dogs. It's not uncommon. I had a dog once that didn't bark for many years.
Just because they said Murphy was barking. They said at 417 that they said at 417 that Murphy was barking, or that they're alluding to that in the PCA, that that 417 on the one body, or on the cam that they're using, they said they heard a loud thud and then you could hear a dog barking. So I asked him, did you hear a dog barking that night? Which, would have been just after, like, allegedly a scream or something. And he said no.
That a little bit. I didn't ever mention that to you, but I still haven't seen any videos, and I've seen some videos of Murphy. I haven't seen any videos of Murphy barking one time. So
yeah,
I still have. So I don't read a lot into the barking. The thud or whatever they heard, that could be a door shutting at anywhere in and around the area, that light bulb cam. Let's just say any of those other students or kids were getting home at some time. A thud is like, that could be a door. Somebody slammed their car door too hard. You know what I'm saying? That could be a thud right there.
Mm-hmm.
I don't read a whole bunch into that, but every little thing is a clue. I do believe, and I already told you this, is I think the light bulb cam holds some of the juiciest part of this evidence. If they're going to get BK,
mm-hmm.
they're going to have to put him there with that cam. So
yeah.
So let's go back to the name for a second. Some people are probably wondering, Doc, why do you want the name? Why do you want this particular name? It's because Enon's timeline starts at 12 a.m. According to him, he said he got off of work and hung out with a friend, and then got home between 1:30 a.m. and 2. So I want to know the name of the friend because that's important to Enon's timeline. He needs somebody to corroborate that, since he mentioned it. Okay, so if he was truly hanging with a friend and neither him or his friend has anything to do with this, he should have no real problem giving me a name so I can call this person and ask if Enon really did hang with them. Okay, because that's the big part right there, right? Isn't that a big part right there? Isn't that a big part?
Yeah.
Well, isn't that a big part of this timeline? Somebody has to corroborate that he said he hung out with somebody and got home between 1:30 a.m. and 2.
Yeah, that's what I guess he said on that interview.
Who did he hang out with? If he did nothing about this crime, he should have no problem. If police approached me and said, well, then who were you hanging out with? If I had nothing to do with this crime, I would say I was hanging out with John Doe.
I know, but that's my whole point, is that why didn't they ask? Like, they didn't even,
let's just cut through the BS. Let's just say cops did make a mistake. That don't mean that he gets off, Lana. That don't mean that he gets off. Just because cops.
No, I'm saying.
Made a mistake, they still. That's the question that has to be asked. His timeline has to be corroborated. One of the easiest ways to do that is, let's start with the person he said he hung out with.
Okay.
If he truly did get home between 1:30 a.m. and 2, and he did truly hang out with somebody, that's going to be something easy to corroborate. Okay? He should be able to give that name.
Yeah, the police didn't ask him. I mean, I asked him on the channel here. Police didn't talk to him at all. Police didn't have him on the station. Police knocked on his door, he said, and that he then approached them a second time to talk about the SUV. So, and like that was, I mean, it was, he made a comment by.
I'm here to ask the tough questions. Let's stop BSing. All right. Let's stop bullshitting.
Okay. What's the other question?
Not what it's about. That's not what it's about. I'm here to ask the tough questions from Enon, but I need him. I want to have him in front of me. I don't want to have him have any time to prepare for these questions.
Okay.
I would love for him to come on live, and I want to talk to him live. I threw one question out there for him. I have a few more. All right.
Yeah. Well, don't throw them out. Then
y'all just stop right there.
Yeah.
Y'all just stop right there.
Yeah.
He doesn't have to talk with me. He doesn't have to say a word to me. Okay. He doesn't owe me anything. Okay. He doesn't owe me anything.
But I think he'd have no problem saying all of the things that you want to know. That's my honest opinion.
He should have no problems.
Yeah, exactly.
Giving police or law enforcement a name of the person that corroborates his story the night of the crimes. This is the night of the crimes. I'm not asking him about his background. I'm not asking him about something that happened 5 years ago or 10 years. I'm talking about something that happened just hours before these children were hurt, man. You live next door with an extensive background with drugs that are tied to the same person that you have in custody, who just moved to that area. You know, but he doesn't owe me anything. You know.
Okay.
But I'm not going to let out. And that just means that I'll roll with my hunch. And that's one of the main reasons why I ever started making videos, is because I feel like there's not enough emphasis put on this guy.
I feel like there's not enough emphasis put on anything.
Yeah, not for money, not for likes, not for subs. As a matter of fact, I almost didn't even do the monetization thing to receive any money for videos. It was almost about to expire. It was like 5 days left. And I was like, I guess I'll do it.
I think also for me, if you guys are gonna like take anything from that interview that I did with Inan, it's this: they didn't ask him anything. Okay, people want to say, law enforcement's watching people's YouTube or stuff like that. Well, when he did that interview and stuff wasn't adding up. Not sure if law enforcement ever saw that or whatnot, but if they didn't even ask him any questions, okay, what kind of questions did they ask the DoorDash person? What kind of questions did they ask anybody? That was what I was looking at.
I know I come off as a little harsh sometimes. I know I come off as.
So that was the perspective that I was just amazed by it. Like, to hear somebody say,
I apologize. I apologize for.
I think Ann Taylor should talk to him, because I think there's a reason that they're not talking to him.
Yeah,
I think right when he told me that he didn't hear the dog barking. That was interesting.
It could be as easy as what I mentioned to you before, where they did cast a net and they figured out that Eon has an alibi, and that's why they didn't go back to him and talk to him later. I could be. I don't
think that law enforcement was talking to anybody.
I'm sure I'm wrong. I told myself that I'm sure I'm wrong. I'm sure I'm wrong. When this all comes out, it's probably they have the guy in custody that did all this. This is just a long shot. I've said that in my videos before. It's just a super long shot. That's all it is. I know nothing. I'm not in this field. This isn't my profession. This is just an all the way hunch. That's all it is.
Mm-hmm. And I think for me, it was when I saw and was like listening to everything, and I'm just like, I can't get past the fact that the police, he said that he saw a weird SUV. Then he thought he saw like, oh, well, maybe I did see that white Elantra, but like that was, and I asked if he's ever seen Brian, somebody that was supposedly stalking this house and and the victims. And I said, did you ever see him before, around the area? And he said, no. And I'm just like, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Somebody that's going to be lurking around and, in a vehicle or, but he just kept on reiterating. He's like, I don't think that I have anything to offer them. And I just was, and I guess for me, it's, I don't care if you have anything or not. Like, that's what a whole neighborhood canvas is for, is to like see if you know anything, right? And then how about this? When police would have found out that this guy went on a YouTube channel and said the stuff that he said, and some of the stuff could not be correct, or like, you know, change things. But then I said at that point, it was already like December, I think 15th. They had their man, in my opinion. Now, do I think it's the right man or every person to do with that? No, I don't. I don't know what they were doing. I don't know who they were questioning, because this is somebody
Obviously,
that
they weren't questioning Enon, because right out of his mouth he said they didn't talk to him but twice. So obviously they didn't question him.
you know, and then so I don't.
I mean, you know, and I mean, I don't know. I mean, I guess they start from the inside out, right? I mean, they start from the people that are in the house and start with their boyfriends and work their way out, right?
Well, that's what. Well, that's what you would think. But for me, I just think that they went for the digital evidence. They just hovered over all of this digital evidence, and they, of course, questioned the people that were dating, or it's and that's why I asked him if did he sell drugs to anybody, or did he know anybody that was who's selling the drugs, to see if like the whole drug thing.
Yeah. It's funny how everybody keeps mentioning drugs, but the neighbor guy who lives right next door has some of the most craziest drug charges I ever seen on a person's criminal record.
Also,
but everybody's talking about drugs.
Yeah. Also, the way that you do things in life is, Inan came on unexpectedly, and the way I operate in life is I do not grill people to the point of, that's not my place.
I do. I'll do it.
I ask people questions to show a sincere, like, hey, I want you to feel comfortable that you can talk here. Also, I want you to be speaking about the truth. And at the same time, I mean, you're feeling somebody out, so you're seeing how they react to certain questions and things like that. And you want someone to, you want to develop a level of trust with somebody. If you think somebody's going to be like coming at you and, trying to cast you in bad light prior to ever even like them speaking, I don't think that's the way. And if other people out there want to contact him or try to contact him, go right ahead. That's my advice. If you didn't think that there was other questions you want to ask, I can encourage you to do that or whatever. But I think that the real question should be is, why wouldn't the police be doing any of this? So that's the real thing. And the problem is, to me, is that they didn't do it with him. So who else didn't they do it with? And then what type of discovery do you think that Anne's getting? What type of discovery is there then? Well, there's no discovery. It's going to be way less of a discovery in terms of when you're doing canvassing and surveilling.
She's the best they got in that area. She does her homework. She's not bad at all. She's really good.
Yeah. So but I talked to Inan, and I will, like I told you, we'll see what we can do as far as, but I don't think that name needs to go public in any way, shape, or form. So that name can be said privately if he feels that he wants to cough that up.
That's why I took down all my videos. That's why I took down the videos, is because the man deserves the benefit of the doubt. I'll be the first to give it to him. Mm-hmm. That's why I took down the videos. I took down the videos.
And I personally think that your videos should be up. I think that your videos. It's
not my place. It's not my place to chase this guy down. It's not my place to, if police only talk to him 2 times, then why should I care?
That when
you,
when
kind of the way I see it,
100%.
If police only cared to talk to him a couple times, then why should I care?
Exactly.
Only
I totally agree.
That I care about what happened is about the only reason. Because that's just how it is. That's all I can really say. I'm speaking from the heart. That's all I can really say.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But I probably won't even get the chance to ask any of these questions. So it's
you never know. You might.
Irrelevant. It's irrelevant.
I think you made a great point, Doc. Right there, you said it though. You said though. Think about that. If the cops didn't even do that, like,
yeah.
And that to me, that's my biggest problem is that he sat here and said,
I told you that earlier. I told you that before.
Yeah,
I said,
100%.
That's how I started our conversation earlier today.
And you're right.
You remember that I was pissed. I said, Lena, what pisses me off most is it came straight from Enon's mouth. I said, I was like, he only spoke to him twice, and why should I care? That's why all the videos are down. Why if they don't care? That's what made me mad. Why should I care if they don't care?
Mm-hmm.
They don't care about Eon. Why should I care? That's why I won't put them back up. I just won't. It's just not worth chasing. It's just not, in my opinion, it's not worth chasing. If they're not chasing it, why should I?
Mm-hmm.
And you know how I feel. You know how I feel. I don't got to explain anything else. You know how I feel about it.
Yeah,
I've always told you since the first time I ever contacted you that doesn't really matter what I think or whatever.
To me, the truth matters.
I'm just putting it out there as a possibility. I've just put it out there to you as a possibility. That's it. So
yeah. Wait a second.
I sent you some questions. If he comes on your channel, it might be some.
Well, I would just talk to him. I would talk to him personally. That's nothing that has to be on a channel. I could talk to him. I can ask him that stuff personally. That doesn't need to be. It's just if he feels comfortable. I think that he would. I think that he would answer it because I don't. Now, whether or not it's going to be. This is how I look at something, guys. You can ask somebody a question, and then it's up to you whether you want to believe their answer. Okay. So at the end of the day, there was a bunch of stuff, asked and answered via him. And then I'm not going to tell you guys how to think. Here it was based on what you heard. Then you can form your own opinion. That's how I am. I'm all about.
Yeah, and I got messages. I got a message from somebody who, for whatever, this is what type of perspective they received from that video from Enon. That me and you were in cahoots, and that we intentionally brought Enon on to your channel for you to get views and all that, and that's what I'm about. And man, I tell you, man.
Wait, that we were in cahoots he came on the channel to do what with it?
Yes, like I posted it in my community page today that you saw.
Okay.
I received a message from a person who actually had the nerve to send me a message that shame on me that they believed that we were in cahoots and we brought Enon on intentionally to deceive viewers.
To deceive viewers of what?
And in order for you to get views and stuff like that and make money.
Okay. What?
That's the stuff that's out here in this world, and I try to.
I ignore all that. I mean, that's
be
just
the best person I can, but some people bring out the worst in me.
Yeah. Well, and trust me, like that's just hilarious. That's just comical. No, I
thought I had speculation. I thought I was the one who speculated. And you're going to frown on me for my speculation.
No, your speculation comes from just like these are facts. These are facts that you.
Thank you for saying that, Lena. Thank you for saying that. I really do truly believe in my heart that every video I put out there is something that I found with a
100%. 100%.
I sent you those. Anything I put out there, and that's my promise to anybody that remains a viewer of my channel, because I know a lot of people disagree with what I've said about Enon tonight, and I knew they would, and that's okay with me. I'm okay with that. But the thing is, you know, I come off as pretty harsh sometimes, you know, and some people bring out the worst in me. You know,
but nobody,
I call a spade a spade. You know, and my wife tells me all the time I need to tone it down some, because even though I don't mean it to come out that way, I don't mean it.
I don't think you come out that way. I think that all the questions that you have, these should have been all things that would have been asked by the police. But my feeling is that the reason they didn't ask him, or probably anybody, is because they had their guy. They were.
Yep, they had that tunnel vision.
They had their guy. Yeah. So and no one's gonna. And you know what's crazy is, you know, or they didn't. If someone they feel isn't going to be credible because of like whatever their history is or whatnot, you know, the cops aren't idiots. When they go to your door, they know who you are and they run run this name through, and then whatever it is that comes up, like, take a look at those 96 pages that are out there.
I did. I saw some things that I
let me ask you this. Why do you think that they would go financial? Why would they be? They went hard for all this financial stuff. I don't know if anybody knows that, if you guys have looked at that. But
yeah, they dug into a lot, you guys. They dug into a lot, which makes me believe even more that, you know, it's a good chance they may have the right guy. They may have the right guy. Lana, I look at BK, and I still don't know if he's got it in him enough to kill 4 people by himself. Pull that off.
That timeline shit. That timeline is so
man.
Shit.
Remember, he's one guy against 4 people. It's gonna take it's a possibility they're gonna get the upper hand on him. I mean, is he that good? I think we're giving him too much credit for being that good. You know, if somebody who can go in there, and Ethan's a big kid, man.
I'd be calling in all of those neighbors. For them all to say that we've never seen this guy before.
I mean, think they give BK too much credit to be able to pull this off.
Well, but how do you, if somebody's stalking the house and stalking the people inside the house, and you're there, what they want to make it seem like all these pings, and it's going, I'm sorry, but you got people are walking their dogs all the time, even if it's late at night. People are walking all over. People are driving, and I'd be flashing that picture all over. To see, I want to know who says it. Yeah, I saw him. Where'd you see him? You know what I mean? Like, I saw him at this party. Or I want to know who's seen him around that house. Who's seen BK around that house? Because somebody, like, you know, your nosy neighbors, man. They're always up in people's shit.
Yeah, I want to know if Enon was BK's connection. And that's why it led him over there, because they both have the same drugs in their background. I mean,
yeah, and you just look at like they're doing. Go look at all those search warrants. Go look at all those search warrants, and I think it's, you know, they were on this path of digital, and that's just, you know.
Oh yeah, I was reading over that again just a little while ago. There's the things that they look into. I mean, I don't want to speculate a whole bunch, but they were looking into.
That's my show tomorrow night. My show tomorrow night goes over what I think's BS. But
they were looking into even their careers, is how I'll phrase it. They were looking into some of these students' careers. So.
Yeah, and you would just think
extreme networks.
Mm-hmm.
You know, did you see that on there?
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, that's everything that I'm covering tomorrow is this has to do with that, with breakdown of what I would find interesting and why.
If you do talk to Enon again, ask him about that route that law enforcement have them taken. If that's just, tell him, ask him if he can just think that's a coincidence.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But, or don't, you don't have to.
No, I'm gonna, yeah. Like I said, I think that, I think he's willing to, answer stuff. I truly do. I think that he didn't even realize that so many people.
I would be overstepping my grounds if I was to I ask him like, hey man, you said you got off at 12. What's the name of the person you hung out with? Just to confirm your timeline, first and last name. You'd probably say, Doc, go to hell.
No, I wouldn't say that. No, I was saying that I would talk to him offline and ask him. Absolutely. I just don't think that name, whatever name comes up, has to be out there publicly because of what people do in this crazy world that's known as the internet. So, but I think that it's just nuts that the police, if it's not even about like him being a suspect, it's about getting information on what he knows about, anything. And you don't know if someone knows anything until you start asking them questions, and they just didn't do that. So that's what he's saying. Is like, I don't think that they think that I could help. And I was like, well, you saying the whole 4 o'clock scream is exactly what they're going with that timeline.
Yeah, I don't know.
And that's the thing. Is like, I don't even think he realizes that, because I had to say that to him there, and I was like, "Wait, you don't think that the timeline's everything?" And so he's like not thinking in terms of like a, But also,
I don't read a whole bunch into the screen because I actually believe what the people, what a lot of people, a lot of viewers have been saying about the stream is. Which if they believe that Enon just was inserting himself into this case for like fame and stuff, I believe that was something he made up. I believe that. So, but also, there's nothing in the PCA that says Dylan heard a scream. But Enon heard a scream at 4 a.m. But nobody else did. If I believe what the viewers have been saying, I've been hearing this a bunch of times, seeing it a bunch of times, which is if he did insert himself into this case, that's probably just a fabrication. He probably didn't hear a scream at all. If he truly did insert himself into this case for that reason.
Yeah, and I think that's a better question to ask. I think for me that's a better question to ask, which is, why did you even talk to anybody? Like, if you had nothing to offer, I'm just surprised that you talked to anybody.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying?
So, he probably that's the fame part of it that everybody's talking about, and it just, in my opinion, which is him inserting into this case and use that scream as something that was going to be like, draw attention to himself, right? Wouldn't that be the fame part of it? He made that up. Did he make that up? Just who knows? I don't know.
I think the way that I also look at things, when he was saying something, he's like, "Oh, that's so long ago," and I'm thinking to myself, to me, it's like.
I will say, if people believe that he's inserted himself into this case for fame and all that, then you would have to believe that the scream would probably be fake. Because if he did all that, he probably didn't hear nothing. If you believe he's just BSing, then he probably didn't hear a thing. Or maybe he did hear a thing.
I think what blows my mind away, though, I say, I don't care what he may have heard, didn't hear, what the police did not include him anywhere to be like, you would think that somebody like that, if he'd be a police witness to say that he heard a scream. The police didn't even talk to him.
Well, that's the biggest clue. You just said it in a roundabout way right there. Here's the biggest clue: is the police weren't even talking to him, right?
Mm-hmm.
So why did he even have a reason to insert himself into this case.
And he didn't even know. But this is the thing, though. Think about this. Think about this.
Weren't even talking to him. Police weren't even talking to him. Then all of a sudden, he just starts writing on Facebook, next door, no screams, no evidence, 4 stabbed to death. He erases that and edits it. First off, police aren't even talking to him. Now we got somebody who's just inserting himself into this case. So.
Well, the other thing, though, for me is that it's not like he said this all before even the PCA came out, though. Okay, so It wasn't like he saw the PCA and was like, oh, here, let me do an interview. Yeah, I heard a scream at 4. You know what I mean? He said, that I want to I'll pull up that Lauren, is that her name? I'll pull up her interview again to that exact point when I want to hear that for myself. But you would just think that, oh God, for the police to like hear that, see that, you would think that that's somebody that you would want to, interview, get that statement on, on record, but with a written testimony or at least an interview, and then you can pick, if you want to put him on the stand then in court to say, that's what he heard at 4 a.m. But they didn't even. But they didn't even do that. But they didn't. It's just nothing.
Yeah, there's a professional that broke down what he thought about Enon's interview. It was on Law and Crime. The actual professional. Oh, I have it saved. I'm going to post that in just a little bit. I was going to post that earlier today. I'm going to post it here. I was almost going to post it before we came on, but a professional went on Law and Crime and he evaluated Enon's interview. Mm-hmm. This is coming straight from a professional, so you're going to have to check out what I post here right after we talk.
Yeah.
I'm going to post a video. And you may not have seen this because it didn't get a lot of views, but there was a professional that broke down the interview, and just take a look at it and see what you think of what the professional think. This is a professional crime scene investigator. He broke down the interview.
You want to know?
And wait till you see it. Wait till you see what I posted. It's pretty interesting.
I want to watch it because the other person who I think has like.
And this is coming from a professional's point of view.
100%. I would love to hear what professionals have to think about John Benet Ramsey's brother Burke in his interview, because they'll tell you like he was smiling the whole time that he's talking about it. It was very awkward, but it's like, well, that's his coping mechanisms. So it just But
all right, girl.
All right. Well. All right. Well, I'll shoot you a text here. I'm about to get off here, but I'll shoot you a text here in a little bit or in the morning.
Yeah.
Thank you for popping on. Tell your wife I said hi.
Yeah, I will.
Okay.
Let me know.
Okay.
I got a busy week this week, so
okay. Yeah,
I will have time more towards the evenings. If you need anything, I'll just let me know.
Absolutely, and much love, and I will talk to you here soon.
Talk soon.
Okay, bye. What is up? So yeah, Doc, there you have it. There was Doc, Thrifty, and he's a man of his word. That's the only reason that he had taken down his videos, because it was about him going on a live or whatever. And he's a man of his word, but more importantly, he's a man of integrity. And I think for a lot of people, like myself, we want the truth, and it's not about saying that this guy did anything. For me, when he said that the police did not talk, I couldn't even believe it. Now, maybe he's lying. That's going to be up to everybody else if they want to believe that. If he's lying or if he's not lying and whatever. I thought that he came across as very, he had no problem talking about some stuff. And no, I didn't ask him who he was with earlier. Do I think that he would tell me that? me and him 1v1 offline? Absolutely, I do. I think that I think it was laughable to him that people thought that he could do the crimes. And I said the other night when I said, for me, I feel like you just get yourself into stuff. Like he could be the type that would be driving in a vehicle with somebody and then they do something and now he's involved, type of crap. So I think he's also a person, in my opinion, that you'd have to ask him certain specific things because he's not putting 1 + 1 together. But if you talk him through certain things, not because you want him to answer you a certain way, it's more like, oh, I never thought about that. I never thought about it like that. I never did, I think that's why he's just like, they weren't interested in me. He repeated that, the cops didn't come and talk to me because they didn't think that I had anything to offer. They have like DNA, he was saying. And I'm thinking, he thinks that they have all of this stuff. The cops didn't have shit, but he thinks that they have a bunch of stuff. Why would Inan think that? Because people that aren't like us, that don't look into every little thing, and people that would make up a jury pool, think that you're not arresting somebody unless you have everything on them, under the sun. Who's just arresting somebody for no reason, right? Who's, well, I don't know, who just lies to their community and says that there's not a crazy person out there that has killed 4 people, because that's what it looks like to me, is that Brian Kohlberger is a crazy motherfucker, and y'all are telling everybody in your communities that you guys were all fine for how long, and he was just doing whatever he wanted. That's what I think's crazy. The community is not everyone was safe and nothing to worry about, but yet you don't have a suspect. Okay. It doesn't work both ways. I feel like, he's not going to give up. Like, you're not going to throw people under the bus that have, if you're going to talk about like drug dealers and stuff like that, I bet you he knows a bunch of them because he used to do that, as you heard. He sold drugs. So therefore, people that do that. Do I think that he's going to openly say who he knows so that he can have drug people after him? Absolutely not. Would you? And I hope the answer would be no. But I think the biggest question, it should just be left as like, the cops didn't care. They didn't care about whatever this kid had to say, or in my opinion, anybody else in that neighborhood for, you want to call it tunnel vision, you want to call it whatever, but you wouldn't know that there was touch DNA on that sheath for a hot minute. Okay. Meaning like the days and that day. And so everything that you're doing early on in an investigation is very, very crucial. And you hear somebody say to the police that they just got home at the same time that allegedly the victims did, and he would have to go past it. He said he was looking for a parking spot and he was able to find one because there was one available. Okay. And then you get to thinking, you think about Brian's 3-point turn and him trying to park, but he couldn't park, or this, this alleged white Elantra. And does that ring a bell with what somebody would have just told you if you did the canvas, but you have 60 to 100 people on this and the same people aren't interviewing everybody. And then you got to get, I would love to know if his name's even in the damn discovery. But point being is, he sent off red flags due to that alleged interview. And the red flags led to, okay, well, then you just look at the facts of someone's life. And everything that Doc has ever put up on his channel has been facts. You can speculate on X, Y, and Z, but they're coming and they're stemming from facts that he was putting up. So do I think that those videos should be up? Absolutely. But I also support whatever Doc wants to do. If he wants them up, great. If he wants them down, great. I don't give a shit. I want what Doc wants to do. I don't tell people what to do. I'm more like a have your back type of person. I don't tell people anything. You come to my channel. I hope that you come here with an open mind. I hope that you come here with the intent to be respectful, to contribute in the comment section. I think that everybody has a voice and has thumbs, and they should use them when they're being respectful. And you can certainly have different opinions, but you can also do it respectfully. And I think that Doc is angry. The fact that the police did not do, like, why does Doc want to know all this stuff and the police didn't care? And he looks at it like, well, if that was my kid and you weren't asking all these questions to these people, like, what are you doing? Like, what are you talking about? Especially when you don't have a suspect for how long? And then the last thing I'll say about the whole thing is I can't believe that after the arrest, when the police come out there and they ask for our help, whatever we can find on Brian Kohlberger, keep digging, blah, blah, blah. And, we're still gathering information. We want to know everything we can about Brian Kohlberger. And I'm thinking, well, then once you get your asses out of the building and go out and ask the people in Moscow and in that area if they've ever seen him. Have you seen him, around this house or around these kids, anything? Wouldn't you be asking your neighbors, the neighbors of that house, someone like Ian Harsh, if, hey, here, this is the guy that's arrested. Have you ever seen him around here? And the answer is no, nobody came and asked him that. That's insanity to me. But what are they like? They just expect what? People just to come forward and be like, oh God, I saw him. But what if nobody saw that press conference? It's just wild. So it's like, also, I'm curious to know if people did do that. If after seeing his face all over the news on December 29th and 30th and so on, if they were like, oh my God, he was at the last party we threw, or, he's the guy that we bought the, whatever off of. I don't know. But me and Doc both know that Enon knows the drug world because he was in it. And if people want to go the route that house had drugs going in and out of it, and you're going to sit here and tell us that I'd rather know who are the drug dealers now. Who's pushing what if you were in that game. Sorry, that's fact. But people aren't going to talk about that because they don't. That's like you want them after you? No. So the people that are out there right now talking about that house was in fact like a, drug, in and out, whether it was the victims or the people that own the house. Well, I say show some proof of that. I got so many emails wanting me to watch a lady named Paula on a WSU. Her kids went to WSU. Did she come with, if you're not coming with receipts, I don't know what I can do, but I need proof. Or some really good circumstantial evidence. if there's kids out there that go to that school and deep down they know, they're like, we've partied there so many times, we've never seen that Brian kid there, you know, and we were doing this, that, and the other. Well, maybe they said it to themselves. I keep seeing stuff like, we went to the police and nothing's coming of it. Well, go to the defense. Go to the defense. Okay? If you've went to the police and nothing has happened, okay, go to the defense. Go knock on Ann Taylor's door and tell her what you have to tell the police. And tell them that I've gone to the police and nothing, like, they're not, I don't understand what's going on. So if, go to the defense. That's what I would do. You want my advice? If you've gone to the police and you feel like stuff has been buried and you feel like stuff is important, okay, go to the defense. You're allowed to. Go to them first. Create that line of communication. But it sent off red flags for me in a very interesting way when the police could be using Eon Harsh and they're not, allegedly, based on what he told us. Because if you believe him and he heard something at 4, that only helps their little timeline. But I think that there's a reason they don't want to use him. And it just goes to credibility. But in this type of situation, he wouldn't be getting anything for it because he's not in any trouble. So but then they're going to probably say, were you doing any drugs? Well, yeah. And they're going to be like, okay, yeah, so he didn't hear anything. You know, so it's going to be like that type of thing. But I would definitely go to the defense if I felt that I had information. I wouldn't be going to the police if I felt like they were burying it. Because right now, guys, they have their man. All right. This is who they're rolling with. And somebody gave them this name very early on, as the redactions would indicate. So I'm working on a different angle to see where this name came from, because Brian Kohlberger's name did not come from a white Elantra that they found on November 29th. And tomorrow night, I'm going to show you some dates of when it would look like this name was at least known about. So again, make yourself known with the comment section, as well as thumbing it up, thumbing it down. This will be a wrap for tonight. Again, I want to thank you guys for being here. And yes, I had a great night last night and today. So thank you for asking and thank you for caring. It's a whole long birthday month for me. Look out. Again, thank you to Doc Thrifty for joining. As always, much love. And all of you guys, I'll be back tomorrow night. Please join me as I will be pointing out of the 796 pages, what pages are worth a damn. Till then. Mwah. Annie Potts, love you, girl. Keep rocking. Thank you to the mods. Always have your hands full with me. Wah, wah, wah. Again, you guys are great. And the ones that aren't, you know your shit bags. Okay. Floydie. All right, take care. Hey, how about that? We all lost an hour of sleep. Blech. Gina Marie, I'll see you there over on Discord. Not. Gina Marie just had to. Time chain gets me every time.